We got some bullish news for the crypto markets as we got a trade deal. Ooh, waiting for confirmation. We also got CPI data that came in. We're going to talk XRP pricing. Recession? I have proof to show you that there is no recession. In fact, it's the opposite. We're spending like drunken sailors.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Trump announces a trade deal. We got green on the screen, so you know what that means. We got to change the background to green on my screen. But before we get into the crypto news, we'll talk XRP price and a stat that's going to blow your mind. We do your comments. Why? Because you're the most important person, because you're the viewer, and the viewer matters most. X-Man Face says, XRP will move sideways and slightly upwards till October due to delays. SEC case, ISO, ETS regulation, and financial institution adoption will explode after that. You know, October, September, that's when we should be getting cuts from Jerome Powell. Will he be replaced? I like what you're thinking there. Chad J says they need to change the SEC to the SUC. Shitty, useless committee. I agree. All the SEC does is continue to delay and destroy crypto innovations. Who put these gases into office? Anyways. Yeah, you would think with Paul Atkins coming in that they would kind of change how they do stuff. No. It's delay. If you don't know what we're talking about, the H-bar ETF was delayed yet again. Naughty Nate says, congratulations on completing another trip around the sun, Biznatch. That's right. I celebrated a birthday a few days ago. I'll admit I'm not feeling the best, so it was a little bit of a muted celebration normally, than what we have, but I did. I celebrated another trip around the sun. Bitcoin's in at 109,483. ETH is 2792. XRP at 231. While BNB's at 667. The market, fairly green. Why? CPI data wasn't bad. But more importantly, this. Our deal with China is done. Subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we will provide China with what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities. Oh, okay. Now, waiting for the confirmation. That's why the markets aren't completely roaring right now, because we want the confirmation from Xi. U.S. and China say they have agreed on a framework, and you're already seeing the stock markets move, but the crypto markets, that's right, we want confirmation. The announcement came at the end of 2 days of talks in the British capital that wrapped up on late Tuesday. The meetings appear to be focused on finding a way to resolve disputes over mineral and technology exports, of which it appears that they got it. First, we had to get the negativity out, and now we can go forward. That came from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Yeah, a lot of positives have come out of it. Waiting, though, for the biggest positive? Yeah, juicy price action. Let's keep learning. CPI data came in at 2.4. Why was CPI so high? Because of housing. The index for shelter rose 0.3% in May and was the primary factor in the all items monthly increase. Food also went up. That's not good. Now, energy went down, which is good for us, but the reality is food and housing is still super expensive. This is what the 1 year chart looks like. We were going down for a few months here. A slight uptick to 2.4. Slight uptick, okay? Nothing to panic about. The market can easily digest this news. In fact, if you go to the 3 year chart, you can see we're kind of leveling off right here in this 2 to 3% range with CPI data inflation. Now, what does this mean for Jerome Powell and the Fed? 99.9% chance that they're going to pause for the June 18th meeting. We're going to have a live stream regarding that. If you didn't catch the CPI data live stream this morning, it was awesome. We had a bunch of great comments, a lot of good questions from you out there. That's why the viewer comes first. I do this for you, the viewer. Yeah, live stream though, we're going to cover on the 18th of June Fed rate decision. But 99.9% chance that he's going to pause. So markets are going to price that action in. Now, if out of some weird, wild, wacky, wonky way Jerome decides to cut rates, the market would absolutely roar, and it would go so deep in the screen that it'd be like we were hanging out in a forest. Now, a lot of people out there are talking recession. A lot of people are saying, oh, retail doesn't have any money. Oh, girlfriend, that's a lie. Nintendo sells over 600 Switch 2s every minute. Think about that. 600 Switch 2s every minute. Nintendo has confirmed that the Nintendo Switch 2 has become its fastest selling hardware launch of all time, with 3.5 million units sold worldwide in the first 4 days of sales. Holy crap, Ola, everyone. So now, Economic concerns? I don't know. If we got money for Switch 2s out there, record-breaking amounts, 600 of them every minute globally. Just throwing that out there. Overall, in the crypto market, we talked about altcoin season index. We're at 32 out of 100, which is good, right? The alts are starting to do something. Here's the problem. The alts that are starting to do the best, though, it's a lot of meme stuff. Fartcoin, dog with hat, a little Pudgy Penguin, a little bit of PayPay, a little bit of Bonk, a little bit of Flocky. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of meme stuff. There's BTC up 31% last 90 days. Now, some of the cryptos that we cover on this channel very closely, XRP up 1.7%, XLM up 1.17%, HBAR, where you at, homegirl? HBAR down here, down 10%. Biggest loser out of the top 100, Picoin down 63% in the last 90 days. So we are starting to see the markets change a little bit of rotation into the alts, but nothing too crazy, right? Let's just be real here. Nothing too crazy. In terms of fear and greed, we're sitting at 65 out of 100. Let's swing it on over to XRP price, where we're at 231 right now. The one day is seeing a little bit of choppy action. Not worried about this at all. Volume $2.8 billion. Let's go to that candlestick right here. We're going to go to the 15-minute variant. You can see what I'm talking about. Friend zone. Yeah, hanging out in the friend zone. XRP wants to push on up, but we keep getting pushed back down in the low 230s. But then we get the support right here, which isn't that bad. Zooming it just a little bit, you can see where that big support candlestick was right here. That was a low of 228, but you can see where was the rejection point? 233.5. All right? So, friend zone, yes, but you're noticing the tendency to want to push on up. When will the cryptos go deeper in the green? When we get confirmation. Trump even said it himself. Subject to final approval with President Xi and me. That's what we're waiting for. The final approval. And once we get that, we should definitely start seeing some capital flow into the crypto markets. And we should definitely be seeing more green on the screen. But right now, the big news is what? The big news is that the alts are waiting for the juice of the tariff thing. And that means what? That means then Jerome Powell will be more inclined to cut rates. He won't be cutting rates, though, in the July 30th meeting. 83% chance that he's going to pause, where the September meeting has the first likely change of 67% chance that we're actually going to get our first rate cut in a long time. So CPI data came in just slightly higher. We got a trade agreement, and Jerome Powell ain't cutting rates anytime soon. So the reality is CPI data wasn't that bad. Slight uptick from the previous month, but nothing crazy that would shake the markets or freak anyone out like that. But the markets right now are definitely waiting for confirmation. And we also want to see, now that we get confirmation, does that change the odds with Jerome Powell? That's the big thing. We need the rates to come down so that things can become more affordable. On the live stream, we talked about buying homes and stuff like that, and how much interest just chews up capital. And that's retail capital. That's discretionary money that could go back into things like crypto markets, Switch 2s. Yeah. 600 every minute globally. Recession? I don't know. Either that or people are making money for gaming. I think that's how it works. Either way, crypto markets are on wait right now. Confirmation. Hope it comes soon. Because why? We need things to change. The friend zone is pretty boring. Because what happens if you're in the friend zone, guys? If you're in the friend zone for too long, you move on somewhere else where someone's going to be putting out. And that's how it works with capital, right? If things are boring here, capital is going to go over there where it's a bit more juicy with a bit more yield. So choo-choo what? Choo-choo biz nachos.